If you're stuck in your hypnotherapy clinic, your business isn't growing, watch this video. I'm going to walk you through an exercise. It's called inversion thinking. I believe it was Charlie Munger that came up with this. It's super cool. And there's a couple things here I want you to observe as you're experiencing this. Make sure you save this video and share it with other people that need it too, right? I want you to notice what happens in your mind as you're experiencing this. Once we start to leverage this, it's like it just has the answers already. And all we're doing is we're utilizing the natural human evolutionary trait to be able to identify threats, right? And just find problems quickly. That's why we complain so much, right? It's like we're wired to do that. We're very good at it. We're very skilled at it. And it makes sense in an environment where you've got to be on your toes, making sure you don't get eaten, right? It's a little different here now, but let's dive in. I want you to have some fun with this. So I'm going to go through, I don't know, a dozen or so of these with you, and then you'll have it quickly and you can just start to apply it. But like everything else, and this should probably be on the list, of things we're going to go through, it's only going to work if you work it, right? So make sure you work it. So inversion thinking, basically the idea here is that we want to pick our goal. Let's say in this case, it's having a successful hypnotherapy clinic. And then I want you to ask questions in the opposite position because we're leveraging that human trait. So we're going to say, okay, well, what has to happen for us to remain unsuccessful? What is it going to take for me at all costs to avoid having a successful hypnotherapy clinic? So we'll start at the very beginning, right? The first thing that comes to mind for me is make sure you don't start. Whatever you do, continue to move the start date for when you're going to launch your clinic, right? That you have to do that. You don't want to begin. The next thing is make sure you don't commit to being successful no matter what it takes. Don't do that. The next thing would be ensure at all costs you do not go out there and let people know that you're a highly skilled professional with a unique skill set few people on the planet have, and that you can help them with problems, right? Whatever your niche is, right? Whatever you do not allow that to happen. Don't let them know you can help them. The next thing I want you to avoid is like, don't make content. Don't make content about how you can help people. You don't want them to find it and see it and then, become an engaged lead and try to book with you, because then you'll start to have success. So don't make content. And if you make content, make sure it's kind of like not really relevant or not something that your target market is going to clearly understand, right? Make sure you don't do that. Make sure you don't niche, in fact. Don't do any of that. And then continue to take a bunch of trainings, but never implement any of the stuff you learn, right? Just like buy business trainings, but don't do any of the stuff. Don't commit to it. Don't follow any programs. Don't learn from people that are already successful. And you can listen to them, but whatever you do, don't mimic their behavior, right? Like, because sometimes people will say stuff and then you observe them and they're actually doing something else, and the direction of causality for their success is confused in their mind. So don't you dare make the mistake of observing their behavior and then mimicking it and implementing it for yourself, right? Make sure you judge yourself and you hold yourself to this unachievable standard of perfection at every turn of the way. Beat yourself up, right? Be really, really hard on yourself, because after all, this isn't an exceptional thing you're doing, going out, starting a clinic, helping a lot of people with problems. So you shouldn't give yourself any ease. You should just be really mean to yourself about it the whole way. If you make a mistake, make sure you repeat it and beat yourself over the head with it. Just continuously do that. Don't be nice to yourself ever, right? And then you spend a lot of time caring about like imposter monsters and syndromes and stuff like that. Don't just realize, hey, you're doing something for the first time and it's going to be uncomfortable. And, you're always going to feel kind of weird. And then there's going to be another challenge once you hit another threshold. And that cycle just continues forever. Another thing I want you to really avoid is like, if you are going to take a training, I would say make sure it's very similar to all the trainings you've taken in the past. Don't do anything unique, or you don't want to do anything that could challenge the way you think in business or challenge the way you think about change work. You want to avoid that, because what might happen is you might develop some like differentiating factor that sets you apart from the market, and then people have such a great experience with you, they refer folks and they refer folks and they refer folks, and you suddenly you're finding out why they say 81% of consumer purchases are referral based, right? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to make the content. We've already talked about that one. Make sure you don't track your results. Make sure you don't hold yourself accountable. Avoid inputs into a system. Don't become aware of what you're doing in terms of like, am I setting aside 2 hours to make a video, but I actually spent an hour, 30 minutes goofing around on my phone. Maybe I did 10 minutes of research. I stressed myself out, right? And I just didn't produce anything. You want to make sure you continue to do that. Don't become aware of all the ways that you're not utilizing your time to the fullest, because then you'll become efficient. So when we approach things in an organic way, it's amazing how quickly our mind can start to create solutions. It's like the answers are already inside us. I see this with clients. My students see it with clients too. It's like the clients, it's almost like, I wouldn't say they're pretending not to know per se, but it's just outside of their conscious awareness. All we're doing is giving ourselves an opportunity, a space to really explore what's going on for a second. And then it's like you get clarity, and now you know what to do. And it's like, okay, well, if I just structure time to do all these things that I identified, that, you know, every other business on the planet does, because it's the foundation of how business works, like generating leads, getting engaged leads, the content to do that, reaching out to people, letting them know I can help them, etc. If I don't do those things, I'm not going to have a business, right? This is just what it takes. So it's really cool because it could sort of dispel some of the myths in the noise in our head, right? It's easy to like come up with stuff that's not real. And so, yeah, put this into practice, folks. Okay, until the next video, do great, everybody. Take care.